Okay. So now we understood concepts of class, triggers, everything. Now we are discussing one by one which are the content we are using in triggers and class. Class we have done it almost. Now we are discussing about trigger. So in this is event. You understand very well. And now trigger.new. So this is the class name, this is the function name, and instead of function parameter, we are using trigger.new. So what did you understand by this keyword trigger.new?
Mm. Whenever I'm in new record
Okay,
is saving.
okay, new record is getting saved. That is called as trigger.event. That is somewhat correct answer. Okay, see here you have answer in front of your system. It is going to give us list of records due to which trigger got called. So though you are inserting new record, if there is a trigger in that particular object, once trigger got called, whichever result is going to be saved, that is called as trigger.new. It's not like whichever you are updating, whichever you are inserting, those things we call will not call as trigger.new. Once trigger got called, whichever is going to be saved, that data we will call as trigger.new. Okay, and this is called as context variable in Salesforce language. So how we'll call this one like event. So this will be event and this will be context
Context.
variable. Okay, we have different types of context variable. So there is a family of context variable. We'll see one by one which are there in that family. So almost 13 to 14 types are there context variable.
Okay.
Is executing, is insert, is update, is delete, is before, is after, is and delete, new, new map, old map, operations type, size. So in this, out of in this family, as of now, which context variable we have used as of now?
New.
Yes, trigger.new we have used. So now we'll check about is executing. Okay, so here I have one doubt. There is a trigger, we have this trigger, and we have this class. Okay, so while we are calling this class, which function will be working in this trigger?
Apply discount.
Apply discount. This function is working. How can we
Yes.
say that? So in trigger we already mentioned this function,
Function
and
name.
same function we are using it here. So you understood this logic, right? So
Yes.
now just have a look on this. What is the mean by context variable? Explaining trigger.new, its context variable. Just now we are discussing about a trigger.new. It contains all records due to which trigger got called. List type. It's a list type. This is auto created. We don't create that. This one we will not create. It will be creating by Salesforce itself. I mean, not trigger.new. Whichever it is going to be saved in trigger.new. Records are auto loaded in that we don't load. This is totally controlled by Salesforce. Okay, till here you understood. Now we are going to discuss about is executing. Okay, so just have a look on this. There is a class. There is a class like same class it is running there. Okay, some code is there. Next, we have this context variable like if dot trigger dot is executing double equal to true, and then open bracket, again there is some logic is there, again there is a close bracket, there is a code. Okay, so there is a more than just assuming that 20 lines of coding is there. Okay,
Yeah.
20 lines of coding is there. So here we have 10 lines of coding, right?
Yeah.
So once trigger got called this class, all lines will be executed or not, or only this line will be executed.
All lines will execute.
You are sure, right?
Yes,
All
bro.
lines will be executed. But here in this code, I mean in this context variable, this is a very rare scenario and rarely we can use it, and this very odd functionality. Like though we are using this context variable, it won't work for all the class. I mean, by calling the we have various ways to calling apex, right? But here, this particular code, this particular code, whenever this entire class calling by trigger, that time only it will works.
Okay.
Got it, bro?
Yes,
So,
bro.
example, this class, we are calling this class not by trigger. Not by trigger, we have some other thing, right? 1 minute. Yes, these are the ways to call the class. Anonymous through anonymous window will call, through trigger
Yes,
will call, through process
successful.
builder we call. Okay, in this, take example of Visual Force page. There is a class, and we'll calling that class from Visual Force page. That time it won't get work. This particular this particular line of code, it won't work. It will be work only when trigger is getting called. Got it, bro?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So that's the reason is executing will use. And after completion of this class, I'll share this Excel sheet to you. You can just read one on one how it will works, etc., etc.
Okay.
Okay. Note: is executing. This is the only family member in that family which we write in Apex class. Only this will be the different thing we can write in Apex class. Rest all we will write in trigger.
Okay.
Got it, bro? Because see here, we have write this context variable in trigger, not in class. So
Yes.
in class we haven't write. So, but this thing, this execute is executing variable will write in class. See here, Apex class only we have write. Got it? So
Hmm.
whenever trigger is working, then only it will work. So now we'll check is insert, is update, is delete, is before, is after, is a delete. For all these things, method will be the same. See here. Returns true if this trigger was fired due to an insert operation from the Salesforce user interface, Apex, or the API. Same definition is give for is update also. Returns true if this trigger was fired due to an update operation from the Salesforce user interface, Apex, or the API. So now we can see how it will work. So just have a look on this. Here there is a trigger. Trigger and there is a trigger. This is a trigger, trigger name on keyboard, and this is a object. And can you please read this?
Before insert, before update. After insert, after update, before delete.
Okay. We have 5 events now. Okay. So we have 5 events now, and this is the logic. So class name, function name, and trigger.new is context variable is there. So here, if we have trigger like this, okay, while we are running the class, which will be happen? Can you guess?
Mm.
Did you got what I'm
First,
asking, Rajesh?
yes, yes.
Generally, see, if we have only one event, then
First one is
this will work. If we have this event, only the next one is work. That's how I'm asking. But here, in case if you want to give a variable context, like instead of trigger.new, sorry, instead of some other context variable, if you use this event, then what will be happen?
first one will execute, right?
No, no, you are getting, maybe you are getting confused. So here I updated only events,
Yes.
okay, not context variable here. You might have thinking about this context variable. Okay, this is not context variable. This is only event.
Okay.
Okay, because of this event, this is getting called. Okay,
Mm.
so
Mm.
now after seeing this, what will you understand?
Mm. Where I mean performing events on object before insert before update.
Okay,
Whenever I mean record is
okay. Now I'll tell you. See here, in case if this is the case, while before insert event is happening, all the function will get called.
okay.
Got it?
Yes, bro.
Because in context variable we haven't give a specific context.
Yes, yes.
This just event. So whenever a record is getting inserted, all the functions will get called. That's what we have seen here, right? Here we have seen only one event, so that's the reason it got called. So in case if we have another event or another function also will get called. That
Okay.
is the logic, right, within the trigger.
Yes,
So
yes.
now if you are not using another context variables, so whenever before insert is updating, all the functions will get called, and whenever update is happening, all the functions will get called. Whenever after insert happening, all the functions will get called. So to avoid this problem, we can use context variable depends on the event.
Okay.
Got it, bro? So we have these many functions. Okay, for example, we have these many events. So whenever before insert happening, that time we need to call only this function. That is the idea actually. Correct, right?
Yes, bro.
So that time we should not go to trigger.new context variable. So that time just check which one has to be there. Runs returns true is this is if this trigger was fired due to an insert operation from the Salesforce user interface, Apex or API. So now you understood, right? So instead of trigger.new, if you use trigger.isInsert, then only this function will get called when this event is happening.
Yes.
That is matching. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So now we can see how this context will use. Okay. See here. To perform something before record is getting inserted into the database, we need to type the logic like this. If trigger.insert double equal to true, double and trigger.is before double equal to true, then only it works.
Okay.
And again, there is a code. Once it is update, it will work. Same way, is update, is delete, is before, is after will be applied. So trigger dot is insert and is before. So here, what did you understand?
So it is I mean
See here,
new
for
is
before insert, for before, and just read this. Before insert event, we are using context variable like this. Trigger dot is insert double equal to true and trigger dot is before. You can see before insert. Got it?
Yeah.
So I'll mail this entire content. You can practice it. While you are practicing it, you can understand very easily still. Okay. So same thing. If it is before update, what will be happen? Same, we can use is update and is before. Any doubts, Rajesh, here as of now, or
No,
getting any
no.
confused?
No, no, no. Okay.
Okay. So depends on the event, we can change the context variable. Okay. So now just have a small mock interview. Call a code in trigger which client wants to execute when update process is complete. That means so now tell me for this answer. Call a code in trigger which client wants to execute when update process was completed.
Okay. I mean, then breakfast. He is updated, bro.
I'm not getting you.
I mean, event is updated.
Okay, event is updated. Correct.
He is updated and
Is
he
updated is that event or context variable?
is he is updated.
Is that before update or after update?
After update, bro.
Okay. 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 One minute. I'll explain you once again. See, this is the trigger and this is the event. Okay. To satisfy the event, we need to go write the context variable like this. Trigger dot is inside double equal to true and trigger dot is before. Okay. So now, as per this, when update process is completed, that means it updated. It's already updated. Okay.
Okay.
Now you are telling correct only. It's already updated. So for this, can you please give me the context variable?
Trigger dot is updated equal to true
Okay.
and trigger dot is equal after update, bro.
Yes, exactly. Because they are saying it's already completed.
Yes.
So update is completed. That means after only it has to be saved, right?
Yes.
Okay. So same way, call a code in trigger which client wants to execute before the record gets deleted.
Mhm. Is undeleted.
One minute. For your understanding, I'll update here. Okay. Now tell me.
Trigger dot is deleted equal to true.
Okay.
Or-
Is delete. There is not is deleted. Let's see. Context variable will be only is delete. Okay.
Okay.
Is delete. Next.
Trigger dot is undelete, bro.
See here. Before the record gets deleted. So
Yeah.
when this delete is correct, then here how undelete
Before
will come? Yes,
is before.
before. Okay. So this one I haven't touched. You only gave the answer.
Next.
So here I have one more doubt. In case by writing this trigger, If I write like this, does anything happen?
No, bro.
Nothing will be happen because we are saying that double equal to true. Either this one or this one both will be the same. Okay,
Yes.
so nothing will be done. So now, what is the difference between trigger.new and trigger.old? Okay, before that, we just see one small story here. There is a object, and in that, one user inserted the record. Okay, just take record number 5 or record number 7, something. Okay, so now there is a trigger, and trigger got called. Once they have updated, value has changed like 200. Got it what I'm saying? Here user inserted the record by using some other value, but now trigger got called. Because of trigger, value has been changed as 200. Okay, so
Yes.
here, what is the trigger dot new, what is the trigger dot old?
Together, new is, I mean, it's a new record. I mean, new records, new records saved.
Okay, a new record saved in the sense where it is
And
getting saved.
li- list,
Okay,
list
one
of
minute.
records, whichever trigger card.
Yeah, got it. That means just understand one thing. Whenever you are creating new record, for that new record, they won't be the value of trigger.hold.
Yes.
Got it? So your logic is correct. So this will be the trigger.new. In case if somebody is asking you what is the trigger.hold for this, it will not be applicable because
Okay.
there's a new record, right? How it will works. In case now it's already updated, right? So in case if you again edited because of your editing, it got changed as 250. Okay, so now tell me in this, what is the trigger.new, trigger.old?
Trigger dot new is 250 and old is 200.
Exactly, this is the concept. That's it. You don't get confused whenever something whenever you, some other person is asking what is the difference between trigger.new and trigger.old. This is the concept. Just remember this. Okay, and
Okay.
now we can see the technical terminology definition. When because of any records the trigger gets called, then the latest version of that record will be inside trigger new. Whichever you said just now, this one, whichever trigger got called, whichever trigger got called, the latest version of that record. Till here, this will be the latest version, right?
Yes, bro.
The latest version of that record will be inside trigger.new. Okay. When because of any record that trigger get called, then the immediate previous version of that record will be inside trigger.old. This will be.
Okay.
Why we need that? This is help us in real time scenario to know before change what was the previous value of the record and the take some decision. So we can decide what is the trigger.new, what is the trigger.old. Okay, just have a look on this. Just think there is an object called as employee details. Okay, in this you just inserted one record, employee name Harry, age is 20 and city is New York. Now in this trigger got called. Okay, so once trigger got called, this is the saving data. Okay, so now once trigger got called, what is the trigger not new in this?
Trigger dot new is. or 20 only. Harry 20 New York.
Okay. Same data will be trigger.new, right?
Yes.
Then in this case, what could be the trigger.old?
If the trigger is updated, you
Okay.
mean is age or is city?
So here this won't be applicable because this is a new record.
Yes.
And now whichever you said the answer, here you can give the answer for this. Trigger.old never works in case of insert operation and works for only
Update.
update. Okay. So now for this record, okay, for this record, updated like Larry 20 New York. Now tell me what is the trigger.new and what is the trigger.old for this. For this record, you just updated.
Yes, bro.
So now what could be trigger.new and trigger.old?
Trigger new is Larry, old is Harry.
Exactly. Old is Harry. Okay. So again, instead of Larry, you updated like Jerry 25 New York. So now in this, what could be the trigger.new and trigger.old?
New is Jerry, old is Larry. And 25 and all.
Okay, here I have
New is,
one doubt.
yes, bro.
So how it will come Harry? Original record will be 1 minute. So here trigger.new is Jerry and trigger.old will be Harry. You are saying right?
Trigger new Jerry 25,
Okay. Trigger.old.
old is Harry 20.
Okay. But as per this information, previous version only will consider as trigger.new and old version will be trigger.old. But in this case, while you are before updating Jerry, what was the value? This one.
Yes,
So
bro.
we should not go back to first one.
Hmm.
Okay. So in this case,
Yes, yes, Larry.
Larry will be trigger.old.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is the difference between trigger.new and trigger.old.
Okay.
Okay. So moral of this trigger.old comes into picture only when we edit the record. So in case if you recently if you insert any record, that won't get work. Okay.
Whenever we updated, then only.
Yes, then only trigger.old will come into the picture. And recently we have used this kind of scenario. Like if customer decide the payment option will be check, then no issues. And later record is modified from DD to DD, then it's fine. So before record modified as cache, then throw it as error. So if it is changing to cache into DD, it works. From DD to cache, it is not getting changed because they haven't showed trigger dot old. They showed only trigger dot new.
Yes, bro.
We'll see this in some other time while we are doing the practice it. Okay. And now just for our information, this is in real time scenario. We often send trigger.new and trigger.old data to Apex comparison and taking the action. So how we can do it? Just see here. So this is a trigger, okay? And trigger this line you understand. This is a trigger name, and this trigger is working on deal object. And before insert, before update. This is the event, and context variable they gave trigger.new and trigger.old. So if you want to compare comparison the trigger.new and trigger.old, we can use this trigger. So here I said right, while we are changing DD to cache, it is getting error. So if you use this trigger, then we'll get solved. Because here we are comparing trigger.new and trigger.old. But there they're not comparing, they're mentioning only trigger.new. So that's the reason new version only it will take.
Okay.
Okay. So coming to class, same thing. How we were using the class here, just check first trigger, class name, function name, and after that here public static void function name, later list of records, and this a new list. Same thing will work out here. Public static void and function name. After that list deal, and here they're asking trigger.new. So where new records values, and after that comma same apply this, and instead of new record values we'll apply where variable old record values. Got it?
Yeah, bro.
And here whichever you want to comparison you can give the value and you can save it. Got it?
Yes.
And coming to next topic, just assuming our object is pen. Okay, why we need to assume? We have pulsar object, right? We'll go there. Okay, so just think in pulsar bike object they want to show it in list of records, right? We have shown this one as list record. Got it? In list
Yeah.
we have shown. But what they're asking is, in case if your client is asking in map format, what will
Okay.
be happening?
Map is a key and value.
Okay, so here while we are taking the object, total object, how can we take a key and value?
Mm.
So what if
Yes.
we want the recent record in the map format? For example, so in this format, what are the things will come? Like customer name, delivery location, price, and
Model.
model. Okay. In generally S object, in the sense all this information will get stored.
Yes.
While you are giving like this, while you are giving like this, entire record will get stored here. Like customer name is RAM, bike model, price, location. Everything will be get stored here. But while coming to map, we need to have key and value, right?
Yes, bro.
So if this is the case, how can we have here? What will be the key here? What will be the value here?
Mm.
Any idea?
The cus- customer name and record ID, bro.
Okay, 1 minute. We'll go here and okay. So here, if you give any records, so entire this information will get saved in single line in trigger dot sorry uh, in list values. Rajesh 250cc 98,000 Hyderabad. Everything will get saved. So like this, how we were saving it. Harry 20 New York. So
Yes,
same way it
yes.
will get saved. But as you are saying, customer name and rate, in the sense customer name it is already saving here, right? If
Mm.
this is
Yes.
the key, this is the value. So everything will be saved in value.
Yes.
So here for key, what we will be getting? Generally, what is the main syntax of map? Key and value. Key will
Enware.
be unique.
Yes.
Key will be unique. So when key is unique, customer name maybe it will be duplicates will
Duplicate.
come, right?
Yes.
So that case, for every record we'll be having record ID.
Record ID.
So this is the record ID here for this.
Yes.
Got it?
Yep.
So for this is the record ID, and for this is the record ID. So in key this will get saved. In value, entire this thing will get saved. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is how map will work. So that means here we have done with this. We have done with this, and new old we have already done. New map and old map we have done now. And last one, trigger dot size. Operation type, when you are using all these things, we will not use this one generally. See here, operation type in the sense you'll be using all these things depends on the scenario. So maximum we won't use this context. See, before insert, before update, before delete, before insert, everything they are using it in this. So
Okay.
maximum we are not using it. So next we are going to size. So size, how it works, trigger dot size shows you count of records present in the trigger.
Okay.
Okay, this is a scenario. I mean, this is a syntax. We need not to go for like map, ID, and value, etc., etc. If you just give like this, entire record count will shows you. Okay, so just have a look on this. This is only for your knowledge check. What is the difference between below two lines? Or when to use which line? Before insert, when we can use it? And what is this actually?
Before insert is an event. It is second one is uh,
This is context variable.
context variable.
Got it? And this
Yes.
one we can use it before the trigger, and this one where we can use it.
After trigger got called while
Yes, yes. After trigger only we can use this.
yes.
Okay. And okay, okay. Now we'll have a small demo session for this. Now we understood entire context variables. Okay. In case if we are not using context variable in this, so here we gave variable. Sorry, we gave only events we gave. Context variable we haven't give. Starting of the class we have discussed this, right?
Yes, bro.
So if this is the case, whenever before inserted happen, all the functions will get called. Whenever before update is happening, all the functions will get called. Okay. So to avoid this, we already discussed context variable. So this is the class they gave. Class information. What they're saying is first class public static void function A. So here function A. For function A, they are giving business logic here. Call this code only when record is about to get inserted. Got it? So once it is inserted, then function A will get called. Okay. And function B, fetch the data from database. Code only, this code only when record is about to get updated. this one. When it is going to get about to get updated, then function B will get called. Coming to C, this code only when record is already inserted. Function C will get called. C insert after update. This code only when record is already updated, then only function D will get called. So now this is the class, this is the trigger. If we have trigger like this, can we call these functions in the class?
But all the classes will run, right, bro?
Yes. So to avoid that one, I'm just giving example like this. So for first trigger, before insert they gave, right? So before insert, so here context variable. If it is before insert, what will be the context variable?
Is
Is
before.
before and is insert. Trigger dot is before double equal to true and double and trigger dot is insert double equal to and true. Then function A will get called. Okay. So I'll send this text to you and just try how function B will work, how function C will work, how function D will work. Just type it and get back to me.
Okay.
Okay. So or else if you want to do it on call, we can do it. No issues.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. Done. Now tell me. So for before insert, you gave like triggered dot is before double equal to true and trigger dot is insert double equal to 2. Then it's satisfied.
Yes.
Okay. So now next one before update.
Is updated and before
1 minute.
is before. Trigger dot is before equal to
Is
trigger dot
before equal
is
to
update
is update because
update.
it's a before update. When
Yes.
it is before insert, we gave here is before and here is insert we gave. Same logic will be applied here. Is before it is already there. Is
Update.
update. So just see here. Call this code only when record is about to get updated. Same thing you already gave, right? Is updated.
Yes, bro.
So now function B will get called. I'm just removing this. What could be the third one?
Is
Third one will be after insert and
yes.
class showing call this code only when record is already inserted. It is showing
Okay.
after insert. Now tell me.
Mm.
When it is before, you gave is before.
Yes.
When it is after, you should give is
Is
after.
after. Okay.
Okay.
Is after
Is
and
after and
is set before. I mean, check.
here insert. And here function C will get called. Last one. After update. And they're asking call this code only when record is already updated. That means after update. So here is after okay. And here
Is updated.
yes is update. So this is how it works. So now we understood how to use context variable.
Yes, bro.
Okay. And these are the best practice of triggers. Some latest entry questions of best practice of triggers. Can we write logic or business process in trigger?
Mm.
Day of yesterday we heard this.
Yes, yes, bro. We
In
only write some piece of code in
In
Trigger.
trigger, we are not using any business logic. See here.
Yes, we just call in the tool.
Yes, got it. In only
Yes,
class, we can do that.
yes,
Okay, next. They're asking why we are not using logic. As per Salesforce best practice, trigger is supposed to do only redirection. That means it is just throwing to some other record, uh, not record. It is just throwing to class. It is
yes,
not doing any work over there. And if we skip Apex class and write entire business logic in trigger, then the concept of test class constraint we cannot apply in our code. So in case if we are not using this in trigger, there is no consequence of steps. For example, in same trigger, if same object, if we have one or more than three objects, so trigger one, trigger two, trigger three, which one has to first called? There is no step in that. I mean, subsequency format. There is no subsequency format in triggers. So that's the reason they'll follow only one trigger for one object.
okay,
Can we have multiple class connected with trigger?
yes,
We can, because we are not writing any logic in trigger, right? So
yes,
by using the trigger, we can call multiple classes. What is the best practice you follow in your project? It may ask you in interview questions. What are Apex best practice? What are the trigger best practice? All are same answers.
okay,
And just now we discussed one object must have only one trigger,
one trigger,
and trigger must have handler classes like mean Apex class.
okay,
We know that. And trigger needs to be less logic. Same thing we are following. Trigger must be written with the help of context variable. Just now we have done it. Trigger must be bulkified. It will be our future topic. We'll see in coming classes.
okay,
And from hereafter, just try to do it trigger with don't use trigger without context variable. Use only one trigger for one object, and test classes bulkified triggers we can see in next classes.
okay,
So test classes in the sense once it is correct sorry, once it is done by the development developer, then we need to deploy it, right? So
yes,
to deploy the code, we need to test that code either it is working or not by using one or two three examples.
okay,
So that if that code is more than 75%, then only we can do the deploy into production. So
okay,
that is future topic. So test classes are once you understood the concept of Apex class, then you can understand. Then only you can understand test class module.
okay,
Okay. So today we have done with context variable, and we have one more topic in Apex, that is events. So
okay,
here this is a context variable. All context variables we have discussed. Same way we have events also. Before insert, after insert, before update, after update, etc., etc. So we'll discuss those trigger events also. Then I'll share a few trigger scenarios today after completion of that class. Then you can practice it.
okay.
Okay, bro. So any
Yeah,
doubts as of now?
no, bro. Okay,
Okay, guys, done. I'm closing this call, and I'll ping you in the evening.
okay,
Yeah. Bye.
okay. Thanks. Bye.